Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your September bonus reading. We are going to jump right in here. You have this Siren card. It says, a temptation may lead you astray. You have a Scream Man. It says, forces of nature favor you. A lot of people have been getting these cards of, like, temptation and things like that, right? So, and this has been going on since July, more or less. And so, again, I would be careful of temptation, anything that could distract you, anything that could, even, Five of Pentacles, can be a little bit of that, like, kind of devil on the shoulder type of energy, in the sense that, the Five of Pentacles can represent speaking too negatively about yourself, or, but, basically the Five of Pentacles says, don't do that. Speak positively about yourself. So those could be some things to look out for this month, or for the rest of the month. For your current general energies, the first card in the, I'm doing a Celtic cross, and there you go, devil. The first card in the Celtic cross is how you are entering into the month, right? I almost feel that you could be being a little bit too cautious. Like, I don't think this is a bad thing at all, Libra. But I do feel that the Temperance card is saying you could make some bigger moves this month if you want. I don't know how to say exactly what I want to say here, but I would just, like, don't be afraid of making bigger moves. It's like anything that you're working on, anything you're creating. I kind of feel the Temperance card it's not really saying patience to me. It's just saying that, it's like you might be doing some things this month where, like, after you do it, you find out, oh, I could have, put a little bit more oomph behind this. I could have put a little bit more energy behind this thing that I'm doing. So I kind of feel like it is, especially for those of you that are, working on a project or working on a business, don't be afraid to put just a little bit extra. Now, as I've been saying all of 2025, 2025 I think is a bad year for hard work. It's a good year for efficient work. Now, those two things can be the same at the same time, by the way, and no, that is not contradictory. Again, if you are working efficiently, then you are getting either equal or better energy than you are putting into something, right? So you can work hard on things that are efficient. I think that really what 2025 is trying to say is that you should not just be working hard to work hard, right? And so I definitely get that energy here. I also get that energy right here. Your crossing energy is the Eight of Pentacles. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. And the Eight of Pentacles, I feel good about. Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. And as a matter of fact, this has kind of come up as a solution for people for this month, September, is that just, having one goal in mind or having, like, one thing seems to be a good thing this month. I kind of blame the Saturn retrograde for that. Saturn will be retrograding into Pisces today, the day that this video is published, which will be the 1st of September. And that Saturn retrograde, there's something about it where it's, like, good. I actually feel good about it, number one. The reason here's why I feel good about it as well. We've had Neptune in Pisces forever. Neptune will also be retrograding back into Pisces soon. But, what I would say is it's like that Saturn energy is kind of like the hug and the kiss goodbye, right? It's kind of like, just like, okay, thank you very much for teaching me these lessons. Get out of my life, right? And so, I don't know. I feel kind of good about it. And I also feel that this month, if we just pick one thing to finish, and then, we could accomplish something great. And the other thing is, if you have any crazy ideas this month, I would be launching those crazy ideas, like whatever they are. I'm actually going to be, in the month of September, you will all find out what my crazy idea is. So there you go. Will it work? I have no freaking clue, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to see it through to the end, right? So that's what I would do with that Eight of Pentacles. You have the Page of Pentacles. I kind of feel like you don't know. It's like, no, you know what you don't know is the words that are popping into my head, which is weird. There's, like, the saying, you don't know what you don't know, or whatever. I feel like you do know what you don't know is what the Page of Pentacles is saying to me, to you, Libra. It's almost like now you know where your knowledge gaps are. Something has happened recently, Libra. It's popping into my head for you hard. That maybe something happened to you recently where you're like, oh my God, I don't know this, that, and the other thing. And so I feel a lot of you could be doing a lot of learning this month. Page of Pentacles is a card of studiousness. Also an amazing card for love. So we have the Ace of Cups down to the King of Wands here. You always get a fire sign with me. Again, it does not have to be a fire sign. Could just be a fiery person. But if you want love, then I think there could be a very strong person coming in for you. I do feel like they are very confident and fiery. Again, they could be any sign, but I do feel they definitely come off as, more confident or whatever you want to call it here, Libra. It's kind of funny that they show up as the Page of Pentacles. Whenever I have something like this in a reading, and especially the King of Wands here is showing up in the position of the next few months. And this could basically say that, maybe this is a person that grows on you over time. Or, it's like maybe at first you see them as a Page of Pentacles, but then like over time they become a King of Wands in your eyes. So it could be, there could be some growth that happens. In the area of your foundation, you have the Six of Pentacles. Again, I feel pretty good about this. You definitely have one of the more positive readings, by the way, for these, September in general. The September reading's a little sketchy. We have 2 eclipses, so it makes sense. Eclipses I don't really look at eclipses as bad personally. Again, I think these 2 eclipses have gotten a bad rap. I think the first 2 eclipses, I think what most people will say is that the first 2 eclipses we had this year were worse than these 2. So it's like, I think everybody has been, like all the astrologers and stuff have been worrying about the wrong eclipses. We'll find out. Could we see something crazy happen in the world? We always do during eclipses, so absolutely. But I think on a personal level, these 2 are actually pretty okay. We have the first one in Pisces on the 7th and the second one in Virgo on the 21st. And again, I like taking a holistic picture of everything. If you look at all the astrology that's going on, we have the North Node in Pisces, we have the South Node in Virgo. It's that with eclipses, the North Node is karma, your destiny. It is the head of the dragon, what you are aiming at in life. Having these 2 eclipses basically, in the same signs, I think could actually make people a little bit more clear on like what they're doing and what they should be working on. And, that's kind of what's popping into my head for you, Libra, is that it's like, really, I think these eclipses will overall bring clarity and will be probably pretty good for you. And I also think that they will help your like direction with the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is planting seeds in a direction. It's about investing time, effort, energy in towards something, and that's what you're probably doing here. I also feel that a lot of you have learned specific lessons about like where you have, again, I don't really think we waste time in life, so I want to stress that I'm not saying that you have wasted your time, but I just think you could be seeing certain things that are a waste of time in your life, and you're just probably not doing those things anymore. Remember, we talked about efficiency, right? And so Six of Pentacles is also a card of being efficient. He's giving to one person, not the other. Next, in your past position, this is the energy you're moving past. You have this Toxic Triggers card. It says, find the strength to remove yourself from toxic influences in your life. Yes, definitely. We said it at the beginning. You have this Travel card. It says you're attracting positive movement or travel that will bring your desires to fruition. Sure. Again, I got that I literally said devil on your shoulder and then the devil comes up. I don't think the devil is bad in your reading. We'll see. You could be attracting a Capricorn or someone with Capricorn in their chart as well. But I really don't think that's that big of a deal. We'll see. But the Five of Pentacles, definitely devil on the shoulder. I think this is the voice that says you can't do something, right? Is what this is in your reading, Libra. And so the good news is it's coming up in the past. The Five of Pentacles has a very easy solution. All we have to do is focus on our strengths and not focus on that voice that says you can't do this, you can't do that. And if you do that, you will be successful. So there's really not much for me to add to that Five of Pentacles. By the way, the other weird thing about this month that I will tell you, Libra, is that money actually looks surprisingly good for people. And you have good money cards after this. This is coming up in the past. This is a card of poverty, but the rest of your reading, again, past, not even something to worry about. Page of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, right? It's like you could be, coming out of the cold financially, which would be good. Now, one thing I will say, that Pisces eclipse on the 7th, right at the beginning of the month here, and I would start now. We have, eclipses happen. You can feel eclipses months before they happen. So what I would say here, and after as well, is that, working on money blocks, things like that would be a good idea. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this Intuition card and this Embrace Uncertainty card. Yes, I think we are in very uncertain times. The trick with, speaking of Neptune and Pisces, is that Neptune and Pisces, you might be thinking, is very intuitive, but actually, Neptune and Pisces is very unpredictable. And, it can bring up things that have to do with uncertainty. And so we really do have to trust our intuition. The other interesting thing that's happening that will affect you, Libra, because you are an air sign, is that Uranus will be going retrograde as well. And in November, Uranus will be retrograding into Taurus on about the 7th as well. So again, a lot of you, I think that Uranus retrograde energy could be bringing up some uncertainty just in general, but at the same time, it's not like bad. So there you go. I think following your heart is always a good idea right now. I said in the 2025 readings that 2025 would be a good year for people to follow their heart and do what their heart is kind of guiding them to do, or what they feel they should do in their heart. And I think that's what you could be doing here with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing, being very happy. Definitely could be a love offer coming in for you this month. It is a good time for love in general. So, wouldn't really surprise me, but definitely could be a good love offer just in general here. I also have a weird message popping into my head here, Libra, that if you're looking for a job and, you're not finding one, I feel like you should, zoom out a little bit. It's like you need to, it's like I'm not saying that that your commute needs to be an hour long, right? Or something like that. But I do feel like some of you I don't know, there's something popping into my head here about looking a little bit further away than you are right now. That's very specific. That might literally be for one of you. But if you do that, and if you are looking for a job, I think you will find something that's very good. And maybe you will move, right? Maybe you will move to be closer or something. But I do think it would be good for some of you. Next, in the area of your outcome row, you have this forgive card and this transition card. Yeah, there is something maybe in this reading about kind of forgiving the past and moving forward. Six of Pentacles, right? He isn't really forgiving the past or anything, but he is deciding to plant seeds towards something new. On the Six of Pentacles, he is deciding that he's no longer going to give to things that no longer give to him. And he's only going to give to things where, like I said at the beginning of the reading, he's only going to give to things where he receives back equal or better energy, right? And that's all areas of his life. And I think that could be the change that you're making here. In the area of the next few months, you have the King of Wands. So again, could be over the next few months that you meet this person if you're looking for love. Definitely could be a very fiery person. I think you are changing here, Libra, as well. I feel that you are kind of taking bigger risks in life. And I feel a lot of people could be saying things to you. I also think you should ignore people because it's like, oh my God, people could be like, oh my God, Libra, what are you doing with your life? Why are you taking these crazy risks? But, again, I think that those things could be exactly what you need to do. Basically what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid of taking big risks. Don't be afraid of, putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid of doing things differently than people expect you to do them. All that stuff is kind of popping into my head. The other weird thing is, again, another card that has come up for a lot of people this month. Like I said at the beginning of the reading, I think that people could be having wild ideas right now. I said if you have any crazy ideas, this would be a good month to launch them and just see what happens. King of Wands has the gift of foresight. He can almost see the future. He's an innovator as well. And so, some people read him as the entrepreneur, which is true in the tarot, right? He is kind of the entrepreneur of the tarot. But the thing is the reason he's such a good entrepreneur is because something people forget is that he has the gift of foresight, and he is, he can see the future a little bit. He's a little bit innovative. And so again, if you have any crazy ideas, and it doesn't even have to be a business. It could be anything. It could be for your health. It could be a crazy idea you have for somewhere you want to move, whatever. I would at least research those things. Again, the thing about working with energy is we don't have to do anything. But if we work with the energy, you never know what could happen. So with the Page of Pentacles, it would be about just researching. Let's say you're what? Wouldn't it be interesting if I moved to Iceland, right? You might have that crazy idea one day. Page of Pentacles doesn't say you have to. It just says if you researched it, you never know what that could lead to, right? Next, in your closest relationships, you have the Nine of Pentacles, being independent this month. Again, it's funny that the love kind of shows up over the next few months with the King of Wands because, again, this is showing up in your closest relationships, and the Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence. So you could either be more focused on your independence, or you could just be saying that you only want to focus on being independent. this month, which is fine. This is definitely a card you get frequently with me, Libra, the Nine of Pentacles. Remember, I always tell you, like years ago, I can't find them on my channel, but I definitely did them. I did environment readings. I think it's because I changed the titles, because I think I put environment in the titles and it didn't work. So it's like now I can't find the readings, but I did environment readings because of you, because you kept getting the Nine of Pentacles. And it is a card of like focusing on creating a positive environment around you, which I would definitely do with this card. You have the Four Wands. This is coming up in the area of your future feelings. Now, this kind of makes sense to me for you, Libra, on commitments in general. Just even that Pisces eclipse for you, Libra, I think there is parts of it that could make you decide that you are going to commit to certain things in your life. Doesn't have to be love. We look at this as a card of marriage, but the Four Wands can absolutely just be a card of commitment in general. And I do feel like you are choosing to commit to certain things. It's like you could be committing to your health. You could be committing to a new business. You could absolutely be committing to a person, for sure, 100%. It's like I don't think there's just one commitment you'll be making with the Four Wands. It's almost like you're committing to a new way of being, which is pretty powerful, Libra. And I do feel that will lead to some significant improvements in your life. So yeah, I do pretty much like that. You have the Devil here. I still don't know how I feel about this. Again, we're going to clarify in a minute, and we'll see how we feel. I would obviously, based off of that, you have that temptation may lead you astray. You also have this toxic triggers card as well. Might be a good month for you to avoid triggers and, toxic people and things like that. And again, this has come up for several people since July. Everybody in July and August got the Devil, and a bunch of people this month have also gotten it. So, I think we could just be in a time. That's it. We could be in just a time where there's toxic vibes, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? All we have to do is pay attention and avoid it, right? So I like I always say, I don't say this to scare people, because I don't think that's the purpose of tarot in the first place. It's loose guidance at best. It's energy you can work with, right? So work with the energy. There's nothing to be afraid of. All you have to do is avoid things that seem toxic, because they probably are, right? With the Temperance card and the Eight of Pentacles, yeah, you have the Queen of Cups, which is very good because we have the Ace of Cups right here. The Queen of Cups is about following your heart. She has this big-ass cup that she's holding on to. I always say that cup, it kind of looks like a trophy, what she's holding on to there. So again, there could be a lot of solid opportunities coming in for you here, Libra, in work or business or career. And, I would be taking advantage of those opportunities, especially if they're heart-based. We are in a time of truth, but I think what people need to remember is there's a lot that's exposing the truth right now. But, that for us on a personal level, the truth is our heart, right? So we have to follow our heart. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Emperor. Yeah, definitely could be a very solid Emperor type person. Like I've said to you before, Libra, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do think it's important. With all this energy that will be moving through Aries over the next few years, Saturn and Neptune are retrograding out of Aries right now, but next year, officially in January and February, they will both be moving back into Aries. I would definitely be working with Aries energy. I would be, picking one thing and seeing it through to the end. That is Aries energy. If you read old tarot books about Aries, especially the one that I can never remember the name of by Liz Green, most people don't like it because it's a little negative on the signs, but it's still fine. But I think in that book, I'm pretty sure it's that one, she says something about how Aries is not necessarily considered a finisher, So, but again, that doesn't mean, astrology is not a prison sentence, right? So what Aries has to learn is to start things and finish them. And, again, that would be a good thing for you to work on, even though you're not an Aries, doesn't matter, right? But also, obviously could be a divine counterpart coming in for you with the Emperor. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Two of Pentacles. No wishy-washy energy. It popped into my head hard there. You are getting hard messages. The messages are bang, in my head, in your reading. So what I would say here is that no wishy-washy energy. And this is not you. I think this is other people. That should be your clue. If someone's wishy-washy, nope, goodbye, right? On to the next, right? In love, in business, in everything, right? I think you need to be, maybe that Aries decisive energy would be good for you to decide as well. If someone isn't a hell yes, it's a hell no, right? Like Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. I think that's where he says that in that book, right? And, I started following that rule years ago, changed my life. So, and that goes for people. If they are not all about me, then I'm like, nope, goodbye, right? On to the next. Like, why waste your time? With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is a card of stability, growth. It can represent holding on too tightly to the past as well. You could be, with all this toxic stuff here, you could be releasing part of your old story, right? With that Four of Pentacles, like I said, the devil on your shoulder, that's not really toxic energy, but it is devil energy. It is, when we hold on to those parts of our old story, it can kind of be like the devil. The devil is an energy vampire. The devil on our shoulder is a draining energy, and that's maybe what you're releasing. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Three of Swords. Everybody gets this right now. I'm not really sure what it is. I don't know what to blame in the astrology necessarily, but what I would say is I think a lot of people are healing heartbreaks from the past, but many at once. Well, actually, I do know what it is. It's the eclipses, especially with the North Node and the South Node, right? North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, especially the North Node in Pisces alone is very karmic. It's like karma, things coming up from the past, all that. But then eclipses also have an element of like fate and karma and stuff like that. So we could absolutely, I think a good use of the time here this month would be healing, releasing old stories, especially about love and like what love means to you and, all that other stuff, but also just anything really, anything you want to heal. Three of Swords, the trick with the Three of Swords is we have to remove those swords from our own heart and we will heal. And that's obviously what I would do there. With the King of Wands, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It's a card of knowing what you know here. What's really funny as well, Libra, is that I kind of do feel that this person might be a little bit more reserved than you're used to. I think that there could be some things that they, it's like, they could be just different in some way than what you're used to. And I think that's a good sign, not a bad sign. It's like this person might move a little bit slower. They might not be, it's like popping into my head that, here's what I want to say. It's popping into my head that this is specifically not a bad thing. It's like, but maybe at first you're like, this person's kind of weird, but really they're not. I think they just aren't what you're used to, which is probably a good thing. So don't be surprised if over the next few months here, you meet a person who is very different. I think that could be good. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yes, this month, I think you are focused on yourself. Like I said, with that Nine of Pentacles, this literally could say that there are big opportunities coming in for you this month. And that's exactly why you're probably not focusing on love this month. That's probably why the King of Wands is coming up in the area of the next few months. For some of you, sure, it could happen this month. But, I think for the most part, you could be focused on like big opportunities, things that can grow. We have a lot of growth in this reading, actually. Six of Pentacles, even the Eight of Pentacles. But the Ace of Pentacles is about planting a seed and getting it to grow, which is probably what you're doing. With the Four of Wands, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, see, there is something about certainty about this reading. The thing about the Judgment card is it can be a wake-up call. I think you're waiting. It's kind of a weird message, but I think what you're doing this month is you are paying attention to things that really call out to you, where it's like almost obvious, that you should be doing it. It's like if it's like, I don't know how to say that. I almost think the things that are right for you this month will be obvious. It's like if you're working on a project, I feel you will like feel it. You will feel the call, right? You will feel the call to adventure and you will know that you should commit to it. So I would trust those messages, right? With the Devil, you have the Strength card. Again, you cannot make this shit up because the Strength card, she is literally taming her inner voice. That's the only thing you need to do this month, Libra. She has her hands in that lion's mouth. The lion, kind of represents her inner voice or her inner critic. That's what we've been talking about this whole entire time is, your inner critic, basically, the devil on your shoulder. That's the only thing I would work on if I were you. You have this Cup card that says you should accept valid criticism. Sure, I always say that on this card. I don't know what to say about this card because it's always like, okay, sure. You have this desk. It says pay attention to your work, which you are, clearly. Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. I think that you are. focusing on work this month. Other things might kind of just, take the backstage. I think work is center stage for you this month. You have this gong. It says an exciting event. Definitely could be some excitement coming in for you with that Judgment card. Because again, I really feel the Judgment card is more of a feeling in your reading where you're like, yes, this is what I need to do. It's like that calling where, sometimes you just lock in on something, you just feel it. And that's the excitement that could be coming in here. You have this angel. It says spiritual guidance, protection from harm. So yeah, sure, you are protected at this time. You have this older woman card. It says dealings with relationships with an older woman. You have this kite. It says vacation on it. Some of you could be going on vacation. Some of you need a vacation because maybe you're aging. Remember, Saturn is time, and we have Saturn retrograde. So sometimes we should mess around with time, but it can also be how time affects us as well. We can if we do things like go on vacation, take care of ourselves, then we will look younger, literally. So I don't know. Some of you could be doing that as well, but this looks pretty good, Libra. I like where this is going for sure. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.